My name is Trish Wyderka. I'm a sourcer for an executive agency here in Dallas. And I like to kind of take times of slowness and lullness in the business to utilize my sourcing skills to contribute to our sales or account managers here. So we're going to talk about utilizing sourcing methods to find data. And you're probably like, well, Trish, what would I use it for? Well, great question. We're going to go over company research, what's going on, industry movement, talent mapping, salary intelligence, and so on. When I first started thinking about market research, I'm like, what does that mean? I'm a sourcer. I'm here to find candidates. How is my market research going to help an organization succeed? And you believe it or not, there's a lot of great things that I do every day that I never thought would contribute to market research. For example, candidates in my database can be company contacts in the future. And so when you think of your applicant tracking system or CRM, you probably have a lot of great information that you can use. So I like to think about company research. For those of us that work agency or maybe other types of organizations, companies hire people like us to find candidates for them. But if you don't research to see what's out there, you won't be able to understand what values or structure, hiring needs, and such. So I like to use my good old friendly Boolean string to build a search string to find companies that are hiring, maybe recruiting, talent acquisition teams that are like my competitors, and to kind of get some insights and data on them to start building like a picture for the leadership team to be able to see what next step they want to go if they need to pivot into a different industry because of changing in technology or healthcare or whatnot. So here I wanted to find out what other agencies might have been looking for, data scientists, cybersecurity. And it was great because I was able to pull up a lot of results and then go through and kind of pick and see, look, software engineer seems to be pretty good. What are they paying and such? And what I like to also do is to go into these sites and do a little deeper dive and find out what are the salary that they're paying. Are they on site, remote, or work from home? Those give me great insights to see where are companies going. As we all know, a lot of companies are going back to the office, but there are still companies that have hybrid or still have remote. So I gathered this information, kind of build like a little spreadsheet to see what the trends are to pass on. And it's really easy. It's Boolean strings that you use every day. So as you can see, again, I just changed the terminology. Maybe I put in like IT professionals or cloud computing. So there's a lot of great ways that you can, change up your Boolean string and have these kind of tucked away on a sheet where you could just change the companies or the titles interchangeably. When we talk about industry movement, I like to see what are the shifts and changes within an industry to identify maybe some emerging roles or opportunities for strategic hiring. And what's really great is I love finding companies that are having layoffs. It's unfortunate they are laying off, but what I think of it as on my end is, can I connect with those people while I'm starting to hear a layoff is in the works? Have they thought about that next logical step of their career? What is going on in healthcare in the next year or two that I might be able to target those individuals before they are, on their way out to get them before they decide to maybe go on to a different company or a competitor. And my favorite is I love like Fierce Biotech. They have a great tracker there. And I mean, literally, I have been able to find companies that were laying off and be able to send out emails saying, hey, we're here to help. If we don't have anything for you, maybe we can help give you some tips and tricks to help you with your next career move. So while I was also searching, I kind of changed. I wanted to see what's going on in the automotive industry with manufacturing, and Reuters, Business Insider, great great sources that I'm able to use to go in and deep dive. Now here was one of my favorite that I ran into, Mondo. I never heard of this site. I thought it was great because they told me what the layoffs were in 2024, and they also have what's going to be happening. I'm assuming 2025 will be coming up real soon. And like some of these companies are people where we find candidates from, Apple, Twitch, RealPage. Those are large companies that probably have a great pool of candidates that you may have for your next role. I also like to do a talent pool mapping, while I'm in the sourcing mode every day, because I like to collect and analyze information kind of stashed away for the future. Because I want to know what skills and qualifications might help us in the future. A lot of times I find a lot of resumes and stuff that I don't think we're going to use anything now, but then when I hear we may be going in a different direction, I say, hey, I got this great stash of resumes that I found doing Boolean search, and I can pull those out and use in the future. So let's take a look of a string that I might use. We're looking here for some Python and AWS experts in the Bay Area. And I'm not looking for companies that are hiring. But if you look at my results, there's some great tips here that I like. I love hire IT people. You can't see the names of who the people are on the resumes, and you can't download them, but you can kind of get an idea of who's out there, what areas and locations. Indeed is a great tool, and as well as LinkedIn. Look, I found 706 lead software developer for Python AWS jobs that I could go in and analyze and take that information and kind of build a little map for what skills I might need in the future and such. Salary intelligence is great because when you're identifying employee compensation, you're able to attract and retain skilled professionals while still maintaining your budget and giving that employee satisfaction, because you certainly want to make sure that it's a win-win for both sides. So let's look at what I might put together if I'm looking for a salary. So there's salary.com, of course, Glassdoor, and I was able to put salary and compensation for a manufacturing engineer in Texas. And I was able to kind of get quite a few sources back that I could go in and analyze and kind of make a spreadsheet, or even take that data in ChatGPT and build like a synopsis about what might be coming in the future as far as salary needs and such. I think that's great use for the future. What about growth signals? Indicators that a company or industry is expanding and increasing. That's fabulous, because when companies are expanding and increasing, that means they're going to look for somebody to fill those positions. For me, for example, I've helped one of our teams by looking to see who's creating a website. There's a company out in the Philippines that sells the websites to certain biofarm companies. I get that list, and then I find out who's having venture funding. I combine those two together to say, if they're starting their website and they're getting their funding, they're going to start hiring at certain phases. So I love the announcements for funding, talking about new product. I love like watching the news and seeing what new item is, or new maybe medications coming out on the market, because that gives me a great insight and great tool cues to target potential clients or candidate proactivity. So I like to use keywords like expansion, growing, opening a new office, on a hiring spree. Now, if you were looking for artificial intelligence candidates, you could go and see that TechCrunch and LinkedIn has some great, feedback. Look at Business Wire. They talk about what's going on in fintech. CBRE talks about a demand for specialized tech talent. Also, legislative task forces. You wouldn't think that government information would be useful, but Chamber of Commerce is a great way to get insight in your local area. Now look at this great find, 60 growing AI companies and startups. They're talking about just in September, not that long ago, who's poised to grow and expand on. So like this would be something that I would dive into deeper and to be able to kind of gather some insights and stuff for my team here at the office. What about skill trend analysis? So I like to identify and evaluate, what skills within an industry may be changing or the job market by analyzing this data from job postings, industry reports, and workforce trends. We can now align our strategies, training programs, and talent development to stay competitive and meet future demands. So let's take a look and see how I might do that from a sourcing point of view. So if I'm looking for someone with certain skills, maybe in quality assurance, I might put required skills or must have or required experience. And then I look to see what skills are needed. And as you can see in my results, I found test automation, innovation, GMP, and so on. You might not know what the skills are, but this is a great way to collect a list and then build a big Boolean string to use, like in LinkedIn Recruiter or my favorite tool, Hire Easy, and have them ready to go for the future. So as you can see, Northwestern Eastern University had some skill listings. Also, Tatasov and Gable Search Group. So there are various sources, and of course, there are pages and pages of results. You just have to pick what's best for you. Now, what about location-based market intelligence? Where are people wanting to move and go? Well, you need to find out what geographic areas are growing or booming to understand the workforce trends, maybe the talent availability, maybe some competitive hiring practices. And this will help your organization tailor your recruitment and business strategies to effectively target and attract talent in specific regions. So let's take a look how you might do that. I want to find those companies that have remote work policies or maybe return to work or maybe hybrid work that are at Intel, Amazon, or Google in California in this year and next year. So it's interesting, you see Amazon told the staff to return to office, talks about major Business Insider has a list of major companies requiring employees to return to work. Maybe there's somebody who doesn't want to go back to the office on site. It's great to go and look at those companies like on LinkedIn or your favorite tool like HireEasy to put in to say who's working at those companies now and who might be interested in looking to make that move. In closing, in market research, we don't want to just follow trends. I believe we need to predict them and get ahead, because for those of us that stay ahead and start doing the market research, even during sourcing and gathering that insight to pass on to our decision makers, you'll be able to shape tomorrow's insights and be more successful these upcoming years.